All right, everybody. Another week, another guest. It's Sébastien Charles by ENZYME at Work. And this week, we are going to keep on talking about the same topic, which is related to collaboration, which is related to innovation, which is related to science, which is related to future of work. Something we didn't discuss that much, but I can tell you that we are going to learn a lot today with Vincent, that is with us. And so again, why this channel is about to listen to people like this, like Vincent, and to get to know topics that are very important uh, in today's world to progress in a lot of different areas. So without further ado, I'm going to let Vincent introduce himself. Hello, Vincent.
Hi, kia ora. Thanks for having me on the podcast, Sébastien. Always great to talk about topics that I'm passionate about. So look forward to the conversation.
Good, very good. So can you tell us a bit more about yourself, Vincent, before we dig into the questions?
Yes, so I'm based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, which is for you guys on the other side of the world. I'm French originally, so I grew up in France. My career is spanned across a few different industries and sectors. So I've started in the French Navy. I was an officer for 10 years. Then I moved to Australia. Did my MBA there, joined McKinsey Company, did a lot of consulting, and specifically worked on transformation. So a lot of large-scale transformation across Asia Pacific, US, Canada, and then New Zealand, where I'm based now. And then after some years doing that, I joined Fonterra in their leadership team for innovation, and then subsequently head of human resources, so HR, to really look at the future of work. And it was 6-7 years ago where future of work was this concept of robots are coming for our jobs. What are we doing? Which, as I say now, I'm like, now AI has never been so powerful, and people have no fear to some extent of robots coming for our jobs. Interesting. And I've looked at a lot of different things in that space. And then subsequently with Joe and Fair, we created FutureWork Studio 5 years ago to help organizations, transform with their people and unlock that potential that we're going to talk about today.
Cool. Thank you much, Vincent, for this intro. So first question I always ask is, let's say, what's your definition of innovation? And, let's say I have this R&D background, and when I was, let's say, preparing this podcast, I read a lot about what you think, what you work on, the methodologies, and I hear about this transformation. But what I also see is that this transformation, because you aim at transforming, but also putting people together, which for me is very close to collaboration. So could you please maybe extend your definition of innovation, please?
Great question, Sebastian. I think for me, innovation has two components of it. There is the technological or technical component of it, which a lot of people focus on, and could be the innovation, like a new formula or cracking a problem that no one has cracked before, etc. But I would say that this is only 20% of what innovation is. 80% is making it happen. And making it happen always rely on people, right? And people sometimes is an afterthought, like, hey, we have a plan, we have a strategy, we know exactly what to do, we have the formula, now we just need to implement. And that's where I think the difference between organizations that are ahead and lagging behind are. How do you actually get people together, not only to find the formula, define the strategy, innovate, right, transform, but also to make it happen so it's a reality for the organization.
Okay, very good. So this make it happen for me. This is key because we do not have that much time right now. I mean, if we talk about the global challenges we have out there, so it's key for let's say for companies to really, let's say, accelerate innovation, like we just mentioned, and this putting people together. So can you can you lead us through your space? So what is cooking in your space? What is cooking within Hive and Future Studios?
Yeah, so it's been interesting over the last 5 years because, of course, we launched FutureWork Studio probably a year and a bit before COVID. And so the world was very different, and COVID hit, and everyone all of a sudden kind of realized that, well, hold on. We don't need to be working the way we've been working for the last 100 years in an office physically. Very different concept were thrown, and what we saw was the change needed was just a mindset change, because we had the technology, we had everything, so we could seamlessly transition into a flexible kind of way of working very seamlessly for most organizations. And so now we're 2 years after COVID, and I think people are starting this year, or we're seeing at least this year, a huge focus on development. So people development, how do I actually develop my employees? How do I make them connect? Because yes, we have a lot of applications and softwares within our organizations, but people are not really connecting in a way that is meaningful for them, right? So how do we create those serendipity moments within organizations, as well as transforming and innovating? I don't think I've met any organization that don't say, now in our top 3 strategic priorities, innovation or transformation is one, and people is one as well, which is for a lot of European companies that we talked to said, look, it always was a priority, but now it's a strategic priority.
Okay, thank you very much, Vincent. So when I hear transformation, I hear change management. So then I hear complexity and a lot of time to actually transform in the real world. So how do you make this happen in a company? I mean,
yes.
You've been through a lot of transformation before. How do you make it happen?
Well, I think the interesting part, right, is organizations love to label people, right? And so we go in, and the first thing we get is a job title, right? And that job title could seem, it's meaningless. It's just a job title, right? I remember at Fonterra, I had a very long one actually. But the problem and the opportunity with this is that then you're in a box, right? So let's say, hey, we're going to create an innovation groups, whatever. All people that are in there are innovators. All the others, no. You guys are BAU. You can't innovate. Or if you want to innovate, well, you need to join us full time. But that's not innovation, right? Innovation could be the 3 of us here, or the 2 of us, or whatever, having a coffee, talking about something, and you go, hey, I've been thinking about this problem, and I go, oh, that's interesting, because have you thought about this? You go, no, we haven't thought about this because we're too deep into it, right? And so what we're seeing more is organizations that are able to innovate, to transform, are the ones that are bringing people together, not in a way that is commanding control, mandating. I mean, there is still that, and we're not advocating for removing that. But I think what we're advocating for is, how do you actually communicate in a normal way what is happening, so then people can say, hey, hold on, I can participate there. I have an idea. I can help, no matter my job title, no matter my location, sometimes no matter my organization, because organizations are creating ecosystems with their partners, etc. And so they want to bring people together. And I think you'll still have the very structured way of doing things, which I think is fine. If you can add the unstructured, the serendipity moment of it, then you get the X factor.
Okay, very good. So let me give you a very practical exercise, and tell me how you would handle it. So when we were preparing this, and through our discussion, I mentioned this experience that I had in my former life, corporate world, where I was in charge of a venture, and we had this, let's say, R&D issue. Let's say our team, we could not fix it. And then I was talking to my team, and I was like, guys, I'm 100% that there's someone in this organization out there that can help us out. And it took me, let's say, something like 3 months to go in each Abteilung. It was German company, in each business unit, say, okay, do you have someone that knows about silicon? And then in the end, I had my guys around the table, and we stated our problems. We stated what we tried. And then in the end, they said, okay, maybe you should try this and that. And we found this out. So it was back in 2018, 2023. I have a year. You are here. How would you address this thing?
So, and look, that's a problem that most of our clients are facing every day, and a large part of the reason why they're calling us is to solve this. And so, what I would say is, what we've been able to create is a very simple way. So, in your problem that you're describing, you have 2 sides of it. One, you have people, right, that are within those organizations, within those job titles that I talked about. But those people are not defined just by this. They also have experience, passion, interest, skills that are outside this job description. And sometimes, it's 30% more, sometimes it's 80% more. It doesn't matter. And that's not known to the organization, to people around them, because of this label that's there as well. And on the other side, you have organizations that want to innovate, that want to go faster, and they say, hey, we need people that have those skills, etc. We probably don't have them inside, so we need to go externally. But the answer, what we found is 95% of the time, like you said, intuitively, you said, hey, surely someone has the answer. 95% of the time, it is the case. The problem is, how do you access them? And so through our platform and through the way we operate and work, we are able to notify people that might have the answer. And so what we move away from is who has all those skills, right? To like, hey, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. Can someone help me? And we find those people usually within minutes, sometimes if it's a more complex problem, like a day, because people see this and say, hey, I can help there, right? And then there is a conversation between you, who has the problem, and the person who says, hey, I'm really keen to give you a hand. Maybe, and the interesting thing is, most of the time, the conversation starts with, I'm not sure I know, I'm not sure I'm the right person, but hear me out here. I want to help, right? And help is the key word here. I want to help. I want to show you this. I don't have much time, but here is my view. And 99% of the time, the person is like, oh my God, this is amazing. First of all, thank you for taking the time to help me, right? Mm-hmm. And two, this answer is great. And then you have 3 or 4 of those answers, and you move on. And instead of 3 months looking for those people, you reduce that to like maybe minutes or days.
Okay. And what struck me when I was looking at the solution, I was like, okay, but with all the technology, AI that we have today, how come, let's say, this is not being solved yet? And let's say we have solutions like yours that are really addressing the pain point. Some kind of things I cannot make my head around it.
So AI is a great topic, and I've been talking a lot about it. I'm going to Paris in a few months to talk about this and how AI is being used in the recruitment space, in the HR space, because there is definitely this war for talent where how do I attract the best people? How do I retain the best people? And of course, organizations are looking at, hey, knowledge management. Surely AI, can look at all our documents, everything, and figure that out. But I don't know you, but when I'm trying to solve a problem, the first thing that I want is talk to someone who might have faced something like this, right? I don't want to read a pile of document or a chat GPT like that says, hey, I can help you, and here is like some literature on this. You go, yeah, but that's not really what I want. If I'm preparing a document for the board, the content is important. But who's the board? What are they looking at the moment? What's the way to present, etc. For someone who's done this before is way more relevant. Those are things that you don't capture anywhere, right? This is like the human connection that will prevail. I think AI will augment that. And we have we have a lot of algorithms on our platform, but AI is a component of it. But this is not the shortcut that people have been, looking for. I'll give you an example. When I was at McKinsey, we had, knowledge management was very important, very critical, in fact, because our clients will say, hey, you guys surely have solved this before. And yes, we had access to every presentation that McKinsey ever done, but that was never our first point of call. The first point of call was, who are the people that have worked on something like this? Let me talk to them. And the 5-minute conversation was super important. Then I could say, okay, this is exactly what I need. Can you send me the document, the knowledge, whatever? That's the next step. If you shortcut this, you solve the wrong problem, right? Because people will tell you, this is not the problem that they want to solve. Walk me through this. This is your problem. You're right. Now give me the knowledge or the content.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vincent. So we are slowly going, let's say, towards the end of the podcast, and I always try to have a bit more time on this one. So obviously, it's a lot of things are moving around. I mean, this is like it's very fluid. I think you were mentioning this in one of your precedent podcasts. Everything is fluid. How do you see this space? I mean, this way of solving problems through the crowd, because somehow it's crowd. How do you see this distributed companies, this knowledge transfer, knowledge lost in 5 years from now? How do you see this space, your space?
So Yeah, great question. And I think what what is interesting in the way we're approaching things is we're not necessarily saying, hey, the way organizations are structured is wrong. You need to like decentralize everything. And because people hear that and they say, oh my God, it's going to be chaos. Like we have a structure, we have an organization for a reason. And I said, absolutely. Keep that if you have that. If you're completely distributed and already had that, that's fine as well, right? I don't think that's the issue. We spend way too much time, thinking about the right structure, the right process, but we're humans, right? This is not how we operate. This is safe to have a structure and everything. So I think it's great to have it. What we're saying is to get the X factor, to get this innovation, to get ahead, this is not a massive restructure that you need to do. You might be doing that already. It's how do I access on top of what I have the moment, the extra things that will make me solve the problem that I need. And I think the interesting thing is the way the methodology we've developed it. Yes, you solve the problem, but that's not all. That's not just that. We're really aiming for the win, win, win. Win for the organization, solve the problem, be more productive, etc. Win for the person who's trying to solve this problem and say, great, I can sleep tonight. I finally solved that problem. But more importantly, win for the person who's solving the problem as well, who didn't have to do it, right? And so what we see is more and more humans need this connection and want to feel that they're part of an organization where, one, they're aware of what's happening and they have the choice. And for most people, it might be the first time that they have the choice to decide where to apply the skills, the knowledge, the passion that they have. They have a day-to-day, that's fine. And everyone is happy with that to an extent. But people get way more excited when they can spend, let's say, half an hour, even half an hour a week, helping you, Sébastien, find the problem, or just sharing knowledge with others. And I think that is a huge return on investment on time, extra time that people are willing to put for this. And that you add that at scale, and you have an organization that is just like a hive full of bees. It's just humming.
Very good. I like that. I was just also reflecting, I mean, both of us are in startup world, and I don't know about you, but reflecting on what you just said, I mean, at the beginning of PostLab, I was just reaching out to people that didn't know me, senior R&D, VP from big companies. They didn't know me out of LinkedIn. You know what? We're working on it. Can you help me out? I say, yeah, for sure. So I think it's back to your point, is that we are so much this kind of capsule of time where you can really, let's say, transfer your knowledge. I think I fully agree with you. I mean, people want this more and more because it's in mindfulness, being.
That's right.
So,
and I think there is like one small thing, which is think about how you feel when someone comes to your desk and says, hey, can you go in that team and help them with this because we know you know how to do this. Compared to, you see, hey, someone needs help somewhere and you decide, oh, I want to go and help that because I'm passionate about this, right? Like from a receiver perspective, having the person coming to your office saying, yeah, my boss told me to come here, so I don't have much time. What do you need? Right? To like, hey guys, I saw you were like looking for help here. I might not be the right person, but I'm really keen to help. Like the amount of energy, the amount of like, willingness to deliver. And when you have teams like this, you're going to get to the result.
I like that. Okay, so last but not least, let's say, do you have anyone that is going to listen right now or even afterwards on YouTube, on LinkedIn about your podcast? Is there anything you would like that person that is going to say tomorrow she's going to wake up, say, okay, I'm going to try to do some of the things that Vincent said. Do you have anything to encourage managers, workers, whomever out there to make the first step?
Yeah, I mean, look, of course, they can reach out to me or to you, and you can connect us. I think a conversation is always the first thing. I think realizing what it is that I really want to achieve this year. So yes, of course, like if I'm a manager, a leader, I have my KPIs, I have all this, and by and large, most organizations will achieve some of those KPIs. And so those individuals usually tend to focus on, what's my level of stress versus my delivery, right? But I think stepping back from that and kind of looking and say, what else, like, what do I want to leave behind when I leave the team next year, in 2 years, whatever? Like, how do I want to create this ecosystem very simply that will get the best out of people around me? And more importantly, like, how do I give them the choice to know and to participate? Like, if that's something you're interested in doing, like we've done that with many organizations and that, but the first thing is really, I want to do this, not I have to do it. It's very aligned with what we do. It's like, we don't want to force people who don't want to do this and think they have a different way. If you have a different way, then great. But if you're thinking, if you're listening to this podcast and go, wonder what that is about. Maybe I'll have a chat. Maybe I'll spend half an hour and maybe I'll get nothing out of this. Then great. I think you're the right person. All our customers are like that. And when you look at our clients, it's actually interesting. Sometimes we bring them together and they're like, they connect straight away. Like they're like-minded people who are like, no matter their industry, their role, whatever, they all want to solve something in a way that includes more people, because they know, one, they're going to get a better solution, but also like a way better work environment where people are happy to be together solving something. Like we all had those moments where no matter, like no one is actually watching the time and say, oh my God, it's like 9 p.m. or whatever. Everyone's like, can we stay more? Because like it's so interesting, right? And so that sometimes is what people are keen to do.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is the end of the podcast. I would like to thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
I know it's quite early out there. Thank you for, let's say, sharing in a very practical manner how, let's say, what is this whole topic all about, how you can do it. Thank you for the people that have been listening today live. Thank you for the people that are going to listen afterwards. Like Vincent said, if you want to talk about this topic, go ahead, reach out to Vincent. It would take some time for you. So again, thank you very much, Vincent. Have a great day.
Thank you. Yes.
And I hope it was also interesting for you.
Oh, look, it was great. Like, thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me. Always keen to talk about this, and very like-minded. So always a pleasure. Have a good night in Europe. Hope the winter is treating you all right. For us, it's summer, so I'm going to enjoy my Friday.
Cool. Very good. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Kakite.